Come and fly away with me. 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 We're rising, we're falling, we're making through. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views. Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
Okay, I'm gonna give myself a minute to catch my breath because I have the camera situated and I'm kind of out of breath. So if I'm not looking at the camera a whole lot, that's because this is not an easy video to make. It's been something that I've struggled being open about for quite a long time. Let me see, how many months has it been? June. So July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Wow, it has been 10 months. It has been 10 months. It's been almost 1 year since I was officially professionally diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And that's not something I've been able to tell the internet. It's something that I've been able to open up to a few friends about, and other alters of mine have been able to open up to a few friends about before I've had the chance to. But 10 months ago, as of the 6th, I was officially diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. And I say I as this part of me speaking now, but I learned that I was a part of a system, a dissociative identity disorder system. And for anybody who hasn't heard of that, dissociative identity disorder, or D.I.D, was formerly known as multiple personality disorder, and it is a dissociative disorder characterized of having separate parts or alters that are okay, I'm gonna calm down and get through this. I am safe. I'm in my home. I haven't posted it yet. We're okay. It's a few hours later. The sun is down, so I added another light. Hopefully it looks okay. I'm gonna check how it looks really quick. All right, looks okay. But where was I? So okay. I'm trying to calm down enough to talk about this calmly and rationally, but it feels really vulnerable to talk about mental health and It feels terrifying and nerve-wracking to open up and be completely honest about this, because it's not something that I've wanted to admit to myself for a very long time, let alone to admit to the world and allow them to see what we now know. Dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, I want to do this. I really do. And that's the thing. So many people have told me that I don't need to tell people about this, that it's information that's personal and I can choose or not choose to share it. And ultimately that choice is my entire system's, but after 10 months of debating how to tell people about this, it's felt like it's time. And I don't know if we'll share this right away, but this is where we're at. And I want to try and share that, or at very least document it as much as I can. I don't know how much we're going to edit this and what this is going to look like by the end of us cutting it together. But I need to talk about it. And this feels like the best way I know how to do that. And I might share this video with a few friends before I share it with the rest of the world. And if I've sent you this video, like personally sent you a link to it, then that means I want to reach out and connect and talk about this more. We would love to open up and re-meet you, to our friends, to our family, to the people that know us and have known us, but haven't known the whole picture. We're trying to open up more. And this is what that's looking like. So 10 months ago, in June of 2022, I was diagnosed with Dissociative Identity Disorder, or D.i.d, which was formerly known as Multiple Personality Disorder, but was renamed because it is not a personality disorder. It doesn't fit into that category of disorders. It's caused by dissociation. And dissociation is very common. It can happen in various forms and to various extents. It can be as simple as zoning out, or it can be as severe as disconnecting from a situation entirely or having an amnesia period. And for more information on dissociation, I'll put some links below, and I may share some videos from other creators talking more about what dissociation is, because there are many videos out there about it, and I think that some creators have covered it really well, probably better than I can explain right now, but I'll link those below or somewhere in the video for anyone that's interested in learning more. But it is a form of dissociative disorder, and it is characterized by having two or more distinct personality states or altered forms of consciousness, more commonly known as alters. It hasn't been easy to talk about. D.i.d. is getting a little bit emotional, but D.i.d. is heavily stigmatized in the media and online, and getting this diagnosis simultaneously felt like it answered a million questions while also leaving us with a million more. Because so many experiences and situations that no part of me had ever had words for suddenly made sense, suddenly had answers and explanations. But so many questions were left behind in the process of figuring those things out, because with the more information that we learned about ourselves and our system, and piecing together memories of our past and journal entries and months of therapy, years of therapy beforehand, and looking back at old journal entries, and there's been so much that has given so much context to our experiences. But for every answer that we get, there's the question of, how do we talk about this? It's not an easy thing to realize that your brain has segmented itself into essentially multiple people. It feels like a loss and gaining something all at the same time, because suddenly you are meeting these new people who you never knew existed, who have known people in your life your entire life or their entire life. It's relearning everything you thought you knew about your past. It's relearning how to move forward in the future and in daily life. It's learning how to break down those amnesia barriers and move forward as a team of people who may or may not get along or know each other or like each other, and figuring out how to move forward collectively as a whole when everyone perceives you as one collective person. And that's been a lot to process. So I haven't been as active online, and I sort of retreated into myself. All of us did. I think communication started to get better as we realized what was going on, and as therapists encouraged us to try and journal things, we were realizing how many journal entries weren't remembered between parts, and I don't know how much of what I'm saying is organized or coherent right now, because I'm attempting to explain the past 10 months, but also the past 4 years, and past that, beyond that, the past lifetime of years that I've lived so far, or lifetime up to this point, you know what I mean. The last time I talked to the internet in a one-on-one vlog like this, I was talking about working in the film industry and creative, like makeup artistry and creative projects. And that's where I've thrived. Where I've thrived is creative projects and cosplay and art and things that weren't any part of me or were, but were also done in some artistic way of showing them. I've allowed different parts of myself to express themselves in ways that felt safe and controlled and artistic, because being super real with a camera like this is not any of our strong suits. Maybe it's easier for some than others, I don't know. But unmasking like this and talking about the reality of the situation and just how much we've learned that does not feel natural or safe to any of us. It has felt so strange to just be open about. And like I said, I think the reason that we decided, like, why now, is because we've been working in therapy for 10 months since being diagnosed. That's not since suspecting it. This is something that we've dealt with since early childhood. I should back up. I remember... I'm gonna have an interesting time editing this, but research heavily suggests that D.I.D. is a form of complex PTSD and is caused by repeated childhood trauma. Aside from it being difficult to essentially tell the world that you've been diagnosed as multiple people, it's also really difficult to accept the PTSD that comes with it, that has always been there, that any of this has always been there. It is incredibly difficult to work through those things, uncover those traumas, and work through those traumas and learn to start to feel again instead of burying those emotions, because that's what kept us safe for years. That's what allowed us to survive through repeated traumas, was detaching from those things unconsciously, subconsciously, and not experiencing those things fully. This is so nerve-wracking to put on camera. I know I keep saying that, but it really is. Because talking about D.I.D. is also talking about traumas. There are some people out there who disagree with that. I'm not talking about other forms of multiplicity, or from my experience, my D.I.D. has been caused by repeated childhood trauma. And that is extremely difficult to admit. It's not something that's widely talked about. It's heavily stigmatized. It's very misunderstood. It's sensationalized, made out to be this fantastical is what I was going to say, grandiose thing. And it's not. It's terrifying and heartbreaking, and it's also what allowed me to survive. And it's something that I can be grateful for. But it's also been incredibly hard to accept. So this is a step in that acceptance process, is being open about it. Because the more we learn about our system, the more we learn that this is our reality and has been, the more we get to know each other, the more the various parts of our system open up and share information about themselves and show themselves, the more that it's hard to not acknowledge. Because there are so many videos, drawings, journal entries, letters, post-it notes, messages drawn in our hands that we haven't even remembered writing to communicate with each other that we found. And I don't know how much of that we'll share moving forward. I don't know exactly what our social media will look like moving forward, because for the past few years, it has been very centered around storytelling and cosplays and fantasy and art. And that's a huge passion of many of us in the system. It's a huge passion of mine as Jay. But we also want to be more open and real with people and connect with people outside of a storytelling setting. And that's what's been so difficult since this diagnosis, because our storytelling and our D.i.d are not the same. And we didn't want to believe that for a very long time. So it was hard to process the idea that anyone would believe us if we spoke about any of it. But we've seen from friends and family and other D.i.d systems that we've been able to connect with that this is a real condition, and we're still people, we're still a person, we're still human, and deserve love and compassion and support just like anyone else. And this has been a really confusing and heart-wrenching journey to go through. And if anybody else is going through something like this, we want to be there not only for ourselves, for each other, but for anyone else going through their own mental health journeys, to know that they're not alone, and to find community and connect with people going through similar things. I know seeing other systems post about their experiences on social media has been incredibly helpful in our healing journey, because it's allowed us not only to learn more and find information and find resources, but it's also helped us to realize that we're not alone. And so many times we've questioned our own experiences or thought, no, that this can't be happening, this can't be real. And it can, and it is. And it's a lot to process. So this is my 2 cents about this topic. And I know that every part of me has a lot of thoughts on how to talk about this. And I don't know if there are other parts of me that can more eloquently explain pieces that I've left out. So if other parts of my system want to add to this video, this may be a longer video, but I don't know if we're ready to introduce ourselves individually or not yet. We'll see by the end of this video if this ends here or if other parts want to talk as well. But we want to try being more open about this. And in April, coming up, we're going to a D.i.d. meetup with some friends and acquaintances that we've made through a support group online. And I think it could be really healing and really helpful for us in our journey of acceptance. But it's also really nerve-wracking to think about traveling across the country to a different state for this meetup and gala. And it's being hosted by several other D.i.d. systems who are creators that speak out about D.i.d. on YouTube, TikTok, and other social media platforms. And we're really excited about it, but we're also incredibly nervous because it feels so vulnerable to be open about this in a public space and to not mask, to allow other people to see our experiences and to see our dissociation and to realize that that's what's going on, because for so long, hiding it is how we survived. It's meant to be a covert disorder. It's well hidden from the system because those parts were created to protect the entire system experiencing it from the full experience of what was happening in the moment. So to undo those coping mechanisms feels strange. It feels unknown. It feels new. And all of that feels really scary. And meeting new people feels scary. But we want to document this. And we want to push ourselves to see things that may make us nervous or scare us, but do them anyway, at least the things that are safe. We don't want to let fear hold us back anymore. For too long, we've let fear hold us back in every part of our lives. And we don't want to do that anymore. A while back, before quarantine, we had a goal of traveling the world and creating art and documenting our travels along the way and vlogging our travels along the way and sharing that with the world and showing people that it is possible to travel with a disability, because I also have chronic health issues as well. And we still want to do that. We've had to prioritize different areas of our life. But we are traveling soon. We have this trip coming up, and we want to document that experience. We want to share it with the world and share it with people. And that's been incredibly nerve-wracking. Even just going to this experience feels incredibly nerve-wracking. So this is our attempt to document that process before we go. This is the before the trip. And we'll see how it all goes. We'll see how many of us feel comfortable talking about the trip. And if they do, I don't know. It feels scary to unmask. For all of us, like even including me. And yeah. How do you introduce yourself to people that think they already know you? When I say I felt like a million questions were answered, but a million more came to replace them, I say that because it's really hard to know how to move forward with a diagnosis like this, because suddenly you have questions of who makes the decisions, how do we move forward and accommodate ourselves and accommodate every part of the system, how do we make sure that every part of our system is comfortable and taken care of and accommodated when we've never accommodated ourselves, when we've never known how and we haven't known what that looks like. Learning that day by day and figuring out what that looks like for each of us, and then trying to fit that into our life and our schedule and our necessities, like the tasks that we need to get done in a day or in a week. It's been incredibly difficult to manage and define that balance, but I feel like we're finding it as we go. But you're also left with questions like, what do friendships look like? What do relationships look like? What does moving forward with this look like? What does a career look like? What does this look like at work? I'm not told. I've told a couple people. How many people have I told? I've told a couple people at my work. It's been incredibly difficult to find those answers, because finding those answers requires opening up, and that's the scary part. So this is us trying to open up. And yeah, I have definitely rambled a lot in this video. This is going to be great to edit for whichever part of us ends up editing this video. But it's a video that has needed to happen for a while now, and we haven't known how to record. So this is at least our first attempt, or my first attempt, and our first part of an attempt to make this video. And if this is the end of this video, if no other parts decide to chime in, then thank you for listening. Like I said, we're gonna try and be more open about this. And I do think that we're going to try and break this video up into 2 parts. Our thoughts on before the trip and preparing for the trip and what we're doing to get ready for that. We might reach out to some friends to possibly collaborate on just like almost like an interview style conversation about our D.i.d. and see if they have any questions or anything that they feel would be important to talk about when telling people about this for the first time. But we're hoping in a part 2 to also talk about our trip coming up here and take you guys with us through the airport and through traveling with a disability. We collectively have something called POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and it affects us when we stand. So when we're sitting or laying down, I have a normal resting heart rate, but when I stand, my heart rate skyrockets and my blood pressure drops. I'm saying I just because I'm used to explaining this to people, and typically when I say this to people about my health issues, I'm masking and I'm not talking about the D.i.d, so it's strange to talk about my health issues, our health issues collectively, and not say mine, because that's how we're used to addressing people. So if I slip back and forth, that's why. Okay, excuse the poor quality update. I'm filming with the front camera because I was filming and then the camera died. So, if I add more later, there will be more. Bringing you guys with through the airport, showing what that's like, showing what it's like to travel with a physical disability as well. We are also diagnosed with a condition called POTS, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So we use a wheelchair to get around day to day, at least for longer distances, and a cane for shorter distances. And I will show you guys what traveling looks like for somebody as an ambulatory wheelchair user. But I am filming an outro right now to say, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching the video. If you're interested, feel free to subscribe or give this video a like if you liked it, and it'd be great to, if you guys have positivity you want to throw in the comments, I would love to hear that. If you have questions, that's cool too. Yeah. Whew. Okay. I am dissociating a little bit, and I'm gonna go here. But if you see other parts leaving their 2 cents in this video, that's cool. If not, that's cool too. This is something that, again, is difficult to talk about and is a very vulnerable thing to be sharing. And so we're trying to handle this delicately, because
very vulnerable, and we tend to dissociate when talking about all of this a little bit as well. But I think it's important for us to learn how to talk about and to be more open about, and so we're trying. And if you're along for that journey, thank you. Thank you for being here. And I appreciate the support. I appreciate you for listening and hearing us out and getting to know every part of me a little bit better. Being open to seeing the full picture. Thank you for being here. Till next time.